Good morning, everyone. This is Susan Quinn with ToutSuite Social Club, along with Dr. Sharon Ufberg of Alive and Kicking, NPR's fabulous radio show about women's wellness. Today we have for you Dr. Marie Chiasson, and she is joining us from Tucson, Arizona. Hi, Anne-Marie.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. So I'm going to just have you get started. Now, we just had an amazing recording with Dr. Chiasson, and that you'll be able to hear on NPR. And then this is our special version of the after show where we get to continue the conversation. We might have some people logging in, joining on camera. If you're watching live right now on our website, please click join on camera, and because we want to talk to you. We want to hear your comments for Anne-Marie.
Yeah, we'd love to get some questions too. Anne-Marie, thank you so much for being with us. I love the idea that you're doing work as a medical physician around energy healing. Your new book, Energy Healing, The Essentials of Self-Care, just came out in 2013. It's beautiful cover, that orange, vibrant vitality color. And I would love for you to share once again with the after show folks who may not have heard the NPR recording yet, about this notion of demystifying energy healing. What does that look like?
To me, it looks like, it's a great question. So conventional medicine stepped away from all the other forms of health and healing about 200 years ago. And now it's reintegrating into what I would call the larger picture of healing. Most models of healing, if you look around throughout time and in different parts of the world, start with the energy body. Whether or not they call it energy or they call it the whole system or whether or not they call it balance, all the paradigms of healing are based on this idea of an underlying energy body. So when we are bringing conventional medicine back into energy healing, it's really just bringing back the old wisdom into the new. And we're using energy medicine in the hospital all the time. It's just that once we use something that's based on energy, we don't call it energy medicine anymore. We call it conventional medicine. So if you look throughout time, we've been using energy since the beginning. We use pacemakers, the MRI is based on different things. Our PET scans are based on energy fields. So what I see is not so much demystifying it, but going back and picking up what we let go of to develop conventional medicine.
That is so interesting. Nobody would think that the MRI would be considered energy medicine. It's so mainstream now. It's not, but it is magnetic resonance, right? I mean, explain how that might differ from something that you would be asking or suggesting people do in your book. I know you have a lot of practical self-guide type tips. Clearly people can't use magnetic energy, in their home self-care. What does what does your book really deal with in terms of that type of energy medicine?
So there's an electric field that comes off our hands and also that is around us. And so the practices that I teach and the things that I've been using on myself are really moving energy through using the hands and the breath and movement. Very simple ways. It takes 2 points of focus to move energy. And so I have been showing my patients and my clients the same things that I use on myself, which are mostly using my hands and movement and breath to open energy flows that may have shut down and shift the balance of energy in the body. So people find it quite, I think they find it quite healing. And I try to use some artificial sort of ways of moving energy, like with a handheld massager, or we use like rattles and things like that. But primarily my work is just using the hands and the breath and the movement because they're right there and they're the easiest.
Can you show us an example?
Yeah, give us an actual example that we might try.
Okay, an example of how to move energy?
Yeah,
using your hands and breath. Right?
Yeah, we want to try it.
All right, so it's hard with the phone. So my favorite one is called 10 seconds to center, or actually I'll give you another one. Yeah, 10 seconds to center. So if one thing that we do quite often is we get very uncentered very quickly. And so the most important thing, I think, with balance and with the way our society has got so much stimulation is how do we stay centered and relaxed? How do we keep the autonomic nervous system relaxed all day long? We're in this sort of chronic state of stress. So if you put one hand, I'm going to move away. one way I like to get people to do it is just to use their hands and their breath. So they put one hand over their heart.
Either hand?
Yeah, well, either hand, although I tend to use this hand. One hand over their heart and then one hand over their lower abdominal area, down here. Can you see my hand down here?
Mm-hmm.
And then breathe into the hand over the heart. And breathe into the hand. You don't have to close your eyes. I do it. Sorry.
Stop jumping
It
ahead.
doesn't require closed eyes at all. You could, and if you're doing it at a meeting, it's probably best not to close your eyes. You want them to think that you're still listening to what they're saying. so, but you put one hand on each place. So I breathe into the hand over my heart, and then I breathe into the hand over my belly, my lower belly, right over the bladder. That's the second chakra.
Wait a minute, but you have to breathe out somewhere.
Right. So breathe into this hand and out.
Okay.
Then breathe into the lower hand and out. And go back and forth until you can feel those two hands connecting. And what you're doing right now is you're shifting the energy out of the head into the heart and the lower dantian, which is really the place of being grounded and also action versus thinking. And one of the reasons that we get... Go ahead, what?
Nope, keep going.
One of the reasons that we get so frazzled a lot of the times is that we spend a lot of time up here. This is not our natural state. This is sort of where we've gone since the Industrial Revolution. So the energy body has shifted the energy up higher in the head. And so the first thing I see when people come see me, and in my own healing, was that we have to drop the energy down. And the moment it drops it down, people become very relaxed. There's, I love to use it with anxiety and fear because fear is energy that's up here. And once you drop fear down here and anxiety down into the belly, just through breath and hands, although I use other techniques as well, it becomes energy for change. So there's nothing wrong with the fear. It's just how that energy is held within the body. And so moving fear from here down to here turns into action. It's quite amazing.
So Anne-Marie, when someone would do this, how long would they have to do it for? Like, what would you suggest somebody do this technique to really begin to get that dropping down from your mind to your body?
So one of the things we have to do is do the technique when we're not anxious or when we're not uncentered, so the body learns it. So I tell people to try it 3 or 4 times a day until they get the hang of it. And then when they do it, I would say you could do it for 10 or 15 minutes, but most people can shift where the energy field is and the amount of sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system or stress that's happening. They can do that pretty quickly, usually within about 2 minutes. So I tell people to do it in 10 breaths. And I find that using short techniques over and over and over is more realistic for most people than sitting down and doing an hour. Now, I have an hour practice that I do every day. Most of my patients and clients won't do that. So I've been trying to find short, quick ways that they can move in, start having the energy shift, and then maybe on Saturday or Sunday they can spend longer time.
I really love that because the book has a lot of short, quick things you can do, like shaking the bones, and so other really,
that's my favorite.
It's practical and useful and makes sense, and little things you can do throughout your day to really make a difference. I mean, that breathing, we forget to breathe, don't we? I mean, normally.
Right.
So true.
Absolutely. And that's probably the most important aspect in terms of shifting the energy and slowing down is the breath. It's free. It's the best therapy we have. It's the oldest therapy we have. And it's Dr. Weil jokes around and says, your best medicine's right under your nose, which I think is very funny.
I'm wondering if you could answer a question that I've heard people have asked me when I said, I'm having this doctor who's going to come on and talk about energy healing. And is your work primarily for people that are sick or for people that are well and want to use energy to stay well? Great question.
Both. And actually, there's a third group that comes to me because of different sorts of awakening or consciousness pieces, too. Mm-hmm. So I get people who come who are quite ill, who have multi-problems, chronic problems that haven't been fixed through conventional medicine, because I'm an integrative medicine doctor, or people who have cancer, and they want to try everything. Mm-hmm. That's one group of people. I get other people who come because they want to learn about energy healing. That beeping is my pager. I apologize. Because they want to learn about energy healing. And then I get another group that comes because they want to learn about consciousness. I would say the number one group of people that come to see me are women in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who are going through that change of life. And I don't just mean menopause. I mean the next stage. They're moving into the next stage of life. And they undergo this transformation, and they're exhausted. So the number one complaint that I get, sort of, if I look at it over time through my medical practice and my energy practice, is I need more vitality. I need more energy. I don't feel like I did when I was younger. What's happening? So I get a range of people. And one of the reasons that people come for consciousness or awakening or whatever you want to call it, I don't want to sound too new agey, is that the energy field is actually what is awake. The energy is awake around us. So as people start to work with energy healing, they start to feel better, and then different perspectives become available through following the energy instead of following, what we're supposed to be doing. So it's a really interesting path. It sort of changes everything while we dive into it.
And it's very much related to this notion of awakening your own natural healing response. It's not like you're pulling something from outer space. You're actually awakening something from within and connecting that to more possibility. Is that
Right.
Would that be a good understanding?
Yeah. So if there's a disease or a illness going on, there's usually a block in the energy body. And like you said, it's about opening that flow and letting the body self-heal. We talk about placebo response in medicine. And placebo response is 30%. Whenever you do a research study, 30% of the folks will get better just from being in the study. That is what I call spontaneous healing, self-healing. I mean, it's so common that we've dismissed it as placebo response. And so it's a question of, how do we get that 30% to 50 or 70, and especially with chronic illness and chronic pain, because, conventional medicine just doesn't have any good solutions for that. So it's about...
Are you getting a lot of, pushback from your colleagues in the medical community, or?
No, I'm not. I get a little bit of laughter and cynicism, but I also work in Tucson, Arizona, and the Arizona Center is a very open place. I don't get as much pushback, I think, as one would expect, because I'm not very woo-woo about this. I mean, this just makes sense, and there's data, not lots, and so I don't go out there and say it'll cure everything. At the same time, people get better. And so when people come to see me, they go back to their physicians, and often their physicians feel like the patient is more realistic and doing better. So I don't get a lot of pushback.
Wow.
I think that's because I'm not seeking whether or not this works. I'm just very matter of fact about here's what I would use and here's what I would use. And some of the things can be quite surprising. And so I think most physicians really just want their patients to get better. So if they do, great,
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what is the meaning of yes? The three only answers you have here: yes, no, and wow.
Right. That came from a friend of mine. I bring that in because our words carry energy. Our voice carries energy. Our the way we speak, and we all know this, tone carries energy. This is how you put people into hypnosis. And so yes, no, and wow is a fabulous exercise where I get people to close their eyes and feel what the word yes feels like. So yes, you can feel, for me, it's like an opening in my chest, and showing that even the way we speak affects the energy in our body. And then having people say no. And for me, while I'm saying that, I can feel the energy dropping, almost like there's a cutoff. It changes the communication. And then wow, which I can feel an opening. And so I try to bring people into the idea that even just our words are moving energy. There's nothing separate from the energy that is underlying it. And allowing people to notice that. So when I first started doing this and really playing with my words, I tried to notice when my words, like I said, were shutting things down and when they were opening things up. And since I had chronic pain, I wanted to open things up. I was in trouble. So I began to even work with the way that I spoke. It's a great exercise.
Well, there's so many more of these exercises too in this beautiful book, Energy Healing. I'm so appreciative that you brought these kind of practical tips out into the universe.
When is the book available? I see this as the proof.
Oh, I got the proof, but the book's out. Right?
Okay. Book's out. Yeah,
I'm going to get this book for my mom because just in the last 2 weeks she's been diagnosed with extreme TMJ.
Ah.
And
okay. TMJ, absolutely. Because, all right, first of all, she needs to go to see a traditional Chinese medicine physician for acupuncture. And I've got some exercises in there because the jaw and the hips are related. And TMJ is a tricky one. And I've got some stuff in there about working with the jaw herself with her hand. It's a form of rolfing. Here, so give me a diagnosis, and now I won't shut up. But I think it might be helpful for her. If not, have her call me.
That's exciting.
Oh, that's
thank you.
very nice.
She has to wait till the middle of July to see the specialist. So she's at home and she's not watching the news, and she's supposed to reduce stress. And
this will be a great gift
help.
for her.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So tell her to go and tell her to go see an acupuncturist too, because I really think that TMJ responds to acupuncture extremely well.
Okay.
If she doesn't mind that sort of thing. The thing is, once somebody gets sick enough, they'll use it. That's the whole point. Once it hurts enough, then they'll go out and try something new, which is what happened to me.
I know. I hope you're inspiring some prevention and some, self-care, so you don't get to a point where you're using energy only to try to repair. I'm all about trying to create some rituals in your life that keep the energy level up and the health, the health factor going.
So Amazon, where do we get the book? Amazon.com?
Yeah.
Amazon, my website, or Sounds True. All three of them have it.
And there's a foreword by Andrew Weil.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well,
Anne Marie, thank you so much for being with us on the Alive and Kicking ToutSuite Social Club after show. This is always so much fun, and
thank you.
We'll definitely be staying in touch with you and finding out what your next event is. We connect again.
Great.
This is great. Thank you so much for joining us.
Here. Thanks, Susan.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.